This example is a little different because instead of finding a specific number, we're trying to find a generic function for g of h of x. I like to start this off by rewriting this as g of h of x like this, because that kind of reminds me that I'm going to take that h function and plug it into g. The second thing I just want to point out is where kids sometimes struggle with this is all these extra x's. I want you guys to know that when you're dealing with function notation, this x is just like a placeholder. It's nothing special. And for these types of problems that get kind of abstract, it's helpful for me to think of this more as like g of whatever I plug in here is going to be that thing squared plus 3. I just think of that x as a placeholder, and for these problems, I want to just actually write it as a placeholder. And you'll see what I mean in just about 1 second. So if I'm being asked to find g of h of x, the first thing I need to know is what h of x is, so that I can plug it into g. Looking at the definition over here, I can see that h of x is the square root of x minus 6. So I'm asked to find g of the square root of x minus 6. What does that tell us? This is asking us to go to this function and plug x minus 6 in. This is where the placeholder idea comes in a little bit more handy. What's going to happen is g of x minus 6, this part, I'm going to plug that square root of x minus 6 into here. So it's going to look like this with the root x minus 6 plugged in to where that placeholder was. And now we just have to kind of think a little bit. I got the square root of something squared, so this is just going to be an x minus 6 plus 3. And then I can combine like terms to get x minus 3. Now you might think that that's the whole answer, but that second question about the domain is changes things a little bit, so you definitely want to check that out in the next video. But that's basically how you take one function and plug it into another. And I will say, I would not underestimate the idea of rewriting these functions and putting in like little squares or placeholders in place of x so that you're just plopping stuff in there and not getting confused about what to do with those extra x's that you get if you don't do that. So good luck with that. Let me know how that's going.